Hello, welcome back to the video lecture series for Introduction to the Art of Programming using Scala. In this video, we are going to continue doing our implementation of the project, and in particular, I would like to make it so that the lists of semesters and courses begin to show you the correct information. So if we run the application, you can see what we have. If I log in as our JDO user, give it a password, it populates the semester list, not necessarily properly, because it's quite possible that JDO is not in these classes, and at least a student should only see the ones that they are signed up for, but clicking on them does absolutely nothing. We don't get any courses listed. So we want to add that functionality. To make it so that clicking on the list does something, we need to put some code here in our semester list. So I'm going to listen to, and once again this is a list type of thing where there is likely a selection object. You could check the API to make sure of this, but sure enough there is a selection object here. And now I need to give it reactions, and so I need some cases. So what type of event is this going to fire off in here? What's going to happen? Well, if you can't remember, the easiest way to deal with this is simply to print everything that gets fired off and then figure out the ones that you like. So if we log in again as JDO, when I click here you can see some stuff printing out at the bottom. It says selection changed, and so the event that I care about is a selection changed event. And what should happen when the selection is changed? Well, when the selection is changed, we need to make it so that the courses for this user are displayed. Now we have our user in here. It starts off as none, and I guess to be safe we could say we're only going to do this if user dot non-empty. Otherwise we have nothing to do here. What should we do if the user is not empty? Well, then we need to get hold of the semester. If I create a variable for this, semester list dot, wait, I'm inside of semester list, never mind, selection dot. Now this is where things get interesting. The list allows us to take multiple items from it, and so I can't just, I could just say I'm going to take the first one, but actually I might like the user to be able to select multiple semesters and see the courses for all of the semesters that they have selected. And so maybe the correct idea for this is to say something like courses equals items, and then every one of these items, so if I did say head dot something like that. So I'd like to put in the semester a method to get the courses for, but this would only give it to me for the first one. So instead of doing that, I'm going to use a call to flat map. Okay. And what flat map does, it's very much like the map function, except that it expects that the result of the function that's passed to it is going to be a collection, and then it's going to stick all of those together. So instead of giving you a sequence of sequences, it gives you one long sequence with all the contents in there. Okay, now this has a problem because we need to have inside of here a def get courses for, which takes a user and gives us back, technically we're perfectly happy just using a sequence of course, and right now I can return courses. Now, at this point, so right now this is returning everything for everyone, and the same type of thing is happening here when we have get semesters. I would actually like this to be a get semesters for, and pass in a user there as well. And then on my user, I can match, and I can have some different cases. So one case is it's the case where our user is an instructor. I want to do one thing, and in the case where our user is a student, I want to do another. Instructors should be able to see everything. So I'm going to return the full semesters to the instructor. Students do not get to see everything. They only get to see the semesters for which they have courses. And so now this needs to rely upon this. And so what we could do here is semesters, you know what, I would actually feel much better if I specify my return type there. Semesters dot filter, and I want to filter them so that I only take the semesters where get courses for of user is non-empty. So if asking for the courses for that user gives back an empty sequence, then I will not show that to the student. Okay. This introduced okay, we'll go back to the semester in just a second. Let's go to the client main first. We've introduced an error here because get semesters no longer exists. Now it's get semesters for user.get. The call to user.get is safe here because we have just established that user is non-empty, so we know that it's safe to call a get. You would not, and you should not put a get on an option unless you are in a place where you can, where you have a check, so you're certain that it is going to be a sum and not a none. Courses should do the same type of thing that we had for in the main where we were getting semesters. I would like to do user match and case an instructor. I'm going to return all the courses. In the case of a student, I am only going to return courses that this student is part of. All right, now I'll type in, that's not a string. I'll type in and say all of courses because we have to go look in the course, and right now we have this problem. The course itself does not know what users it has. And so I think I would like to have it so that when a course gets set up, it needs a little bit more than name. It would also be nice if it had students as well as instructors. Okay. Now those are private, so we can't exactly, for filtering this down here, we need to somehow ask the course whether it includes a student. So def includes student, pass in a student. This returns a Boolean, which equals students dot contains that student. And then here we can only return the courses. We can do a filter on underscore dot includes the student of our student. Okay, so that was a number of quick additions here. We added into, so we changed this one call in the main. Up here in our semester list, we made it so that it responds to key presses, and if a user is logged in, it will go through all of the selected items and ask each semester to get the courses for the user. In order for that to work, we had to implement the inside of the semester the get courses for, and for that to work we had to implement inside of the course the list of the users and includes. Right now this is going to be pretty boring because our semesters don't include any courses. Our courses are always starting off as nil. Just to make this at least a little bit more interesting, courses equals, let's go with a list. I want to put in 2 courses here. New course CS1, and that's all that I have to put in, comma, new course CS2. Oh, do I not? I don't have default values here. Now, that should be all that I need over on this side. So we'll get a CS1 and a CS2. Okay, let's go ahead and run this and see how close we are to where we want to be. Let's log in first as Lewis. Apparently I can't type my password. Super user. Okay. Now in theory, when I click on one of these, nope. What am I not doing yet? I got all of the courses, but I did not set that to be the data for the course list. Okay, let's try that again. Log in, Lewis, super user, click the spring, click the fall, spring, fall, hold down control, click both. Wow, it all works except the courses still look really ugly. At least because they have that unique identifier, you can tell that these two are different. Once we clean this up, you won't be able to tell that. But remember, the way that we get it so that this displays a string that is nice is we want to override the toString method, and I would like this to be the name plus, and I'm going to put a little bit of additional information inside of here. I just want it to tell us how many students and how many instructors are in that course as well. So we'll run this again. One more time we'll log in as Lewis, and then we need to come in and log in as JDoe. So Lewis gets to see that. There, once again, it's boring and it looks like a total repeat. We have our instruction options. They don't do anything yet, but one little piece at a time. And now let's run it, and let's log in as JDoe. This is actually the correct behavior, because currently JDoe is not in any courses, which means that they don't have access to any semesters. And it would take a little bit more work to get them into there, because right now either it takes more work or it requires breaking some of our data hiding, because our server main is the only thing that knows really about JDoe as a user, and so getting that down into a course would be a little bit challenging. I guess in theory we could come down here, and after we add on these two things to the semesters dot, we don't have a method for adding user. It's not worth doing at this point. We'll come back in another video and do that. because it would be nice if we started having some real functionality to be able to add semesters, add courses. We also need to talk about the activities and what types of things go into there. So lots more things for us to work on in this code, but we're going to stop this video at this point, and we'll come back and do more of that stuff later.